smells like those chickens are done. Let's take a look. Oh yes, the legs are about to fall off. I'll just set the whole pan over on these trivets till we're ready to serve them. Ooh, it looks like we can make some good gravy there too. We're going to keep the oven warm because we're going to put a couple of pies in there, which is what the Shakers used it for toward the end of its life with the Shakers. And while I'm waiting for the pies to come, I'm going to get the bread cake ready because the bread oven is just about ready to rake the ashes and embers out. And the bread is just about ready to get put in. So let's come over and take a look. Well, now this is the bread sponge that we left out to be used later on. And it's now later on. And to the leftover bread sponge, we add a bunch of sugar. Actually, the recipe just calls for 2 cups light bread dough, 2 sugar, 2 eggs, 1.5 cups of butter, spice, and fruit. So you can see that it's not a very precise recipe. So we just save as much bread sponge as we think is appropriate. And what we have today is some cut up apples. One of the apples in our orchard is an old variety called Transparence, and they ripen in August. So we can have both blueberry pie and apple good cake on the same day. And I'll add a little bit of cinnamon as the spice for this. They would make this good cake or bread cake out of whatever fruit happened to be in season and whatever spices they felt like. Now it called for some melted butter, and what I do is I put a little saucepan right in the bake oven to melt the butter, which I think is ready now. Certainly is. I'm going to work that in. There it goes. And then I've got a couple of eggs that are already beaten up. A very unusual kind of cake for today. But oddly enough, it ends up with very much the same texture as a typical baking powder kind of cake. And like the bread, it actually has to sit and rise a little bit in its pan. I hate to waste any of this batter because I know it tastes so good. I'll just let this rise with the loaves that are rising here. And in just a minute, I'm going to rake out the ashes and embers in the bake oven. So stick around.